The snow fell heavy on Fifth Avenue, each flake catching the glow of 1,000 Christmas lights strung between the buildings. It was Christmas Eve, and the city buzzed with that particular energy that only came once a year. Families rushed past carrying shopping bags. Couples walked hand in hand, and somewhere in the distance, carolers sang about silent nights and holy nights. Vincent Russo stood outside a jewelry store, his black coat dusted with white, his breath forming clouds in the frozen air. He had just closed a deal that would expand his territory into 3 new states. He should have felt victorious. Instead, he felt hollow. Christmas always did that to him. It reminded him of what he lost 4 years ago when he walked away from the only woman he ever loved. He turned to leave when he saw her. Time stopped. The noise of the city faded. The snow seemed to hang suspended in the air. Rebecca Hayes stood 20 feet away, her auburn hair falling over the shoulders of her cream-colored coat. She looked exactly as he remembered, except for the way her green eyes widened when they met his. 4 years of silence, 4 years of wondering, 4 years of regret. And then he saw the little girl holding her hand. The child could not have been more than 3 years old. Blonde curls spilled from beneath a pink knit hat. Her cheeks were flushed from the cold, and she clutched a stuffed reindeer against her chest. She was talking animatedly, pointing at the window display of mechanical elves, completely unaware that her mother had frozen in place. Vincent felt his heart slam against his ribs. He moved forward without thinking, his feet carrying him across the snowy sidewalk as if pulled by an invisible string. Rebecca saw him coming, and her hand tightened around the little girl's fingers. They stood face to face for the first time in 4 years. Up close, he could see the tiny lines around her eyes that had not been there before. He could see the way her lips parted slightly, as if she wanted to speak but could not find the words. He could see everything he had missed, everything he had given up. Vincent. His name came out as barely a whisper. Rebecca. He could not take his eyes off her. Then his gaze dropped to the child, who had stopped talking and was now staring up at him with open curiosity. "Mommy, who's that?" the little girl asked, tugging on Rebecca's coat. Rebecca swallowed hard. Vincent watched her throat move, watched the internal struggle play out across her features. When she finally spoke, her voice trembled. "Emma, this is an old friend of Mommy's." Emma. The name hit him like a physical blow. He looked at the child again, really looked at her this time. Blonde hair like Rebecca's mother, but those eyes, those dark brown eyes that tilted up slightly at the corners. Those were Russo eyes. His sister had those same eyes. His mother had those same eyes. The realization crashed over him like a wave of ice water. "How old is she?" he heard himself ask. His voice sounded strange, distant. Rebecca's eyes filled with tears. She bit her lower lip, the same gesture she always made when she was trying not to cry. "Vincent, How old, Rebecca?" 3. She just turned 3 in September. Vincent did the math in his head. 4 years since they broke up. 3 years and 3 months since Emma was born, which meant Rebecca had been pregnant when he left. Pregnant, and she never told him. The street seemed to tilt beneath his feet. All the noise came rushing back at once. Car horns, laughter, Christmas music pouring from a nearby store. It was too much. Everything was too much. "You were pregnant," he said. It was not a question. Rebecca nodded, a single tear escaping down her cheek. Emma looked between them, her small face scrunching up in confusion at the tension she could feel but not understand. "There's something you need to know," Rebecca said, her voice stronger now. She wiped her eyes quickly, glancing down at Emma before meeting Vincent's gaze again. "Can we go somewhere? To talk?" Vincent could not speak. He could only stare at this little girl, his daughter. He had a daughter. For 3 years, he had walked this earth not knowing that part of him existed. For 3 years, this child had been growing, learning, living, and he knew nothing about it. Emma tugged on his coat, making him jump. She smiled up at him, revealing a missing front tooth. "I like your coat. It's fancy. Are you really rich like the people on TV?" Despite everything, despite the shock and the anger and the confusion swirling through him, Vincent felt his lips twitch. He crouched down so he was eye level with her. This close, the resemblance was undeniable. She had his nose, the shape of his face. How had he not seen it immediately? "What's your name?" Emma asked, tilting her head. "Vincent," he managed to say. "What's yours?" "Emma Rose Hayes. I'm 3.5, actually. My birthday was in September, but I tell people 3 because half is hard to show with fingers." She held up 3 fingers, then tried to add half a finger and frowned at the difficulty. Vincent felt something crack inside his chest. She was perfect, absolutely perfect, and he had missed everything. Her first steps, her first words, her first birthday, all of it. Gone. He stood up slowly, his eyes never leaving Rebecca's face. She was crying openly now, tears streaming down her cheeks as she watched him interact with their daughter. Their daughter. The words felt foreign and right all at the same time. "We need to talk," he said, his voice rough with emotion. "I know," Rebecca whispered. Emma looked up at both of them and declared with the confidence only a 3-year-old could have, "You should come see our Christmas tree. Mommy let me put the star on top all by myself this year." Vincent's jaw clenched. Their Christmas tree, their home, a life he knew nothing about. "Emma, sweetie, Mr. Vincent is probably busy," Rebecca started. "I'm not busy," Vincent interrupted. He looked at Rebecca, really looked at her, and saw the fear there. Fear of what he would say. Fear of what he would do. Fear that he would walk away again. "I'm not busy at all. I want to hear everything." Rebecca nodded slowly, her hand trembling as she wiped her eyes again. "There's a coffee shop around the corner. It should be quiet." They walked in silence, Emma skipping between them, her reindeer bouncing with each step. She chattered about Christmas, about how she had been extra good this year so Santa would definitely bring her the dollhouse she wanted, about how her teacher, Miss Caroline, said she was the best at coloring inside the lines. Vincent absorbed every word like a man dying of thirst. He watched the way Emma's nose crinkled when she laughed, the way she pronounced certain words with a slight lisp because of her missing tooth, the way she naturally reached for Rebecca's hand when they crossed the street, her small fingers wrapping around her mother's with complete trust. This was his child, his blood, his responsibility, and Rebecca had carried that weight alone for almost 4 years. The coffee shop was nearly empty, just a tired barista and an elderly couple in the corner. Rebecca ordered hot chocolate for Emma and coffee for herself. Vincent said nothing, his mind too full of questions to think about caffeine. They sat at a table near the window. Emma immediately became absorbed in her hot chocolate, carefully picking out the mini marshmallows and eating them one by one. The silence stretched between the 2 adults, heavy with unspoken words. Rebecca spoke first, her voice barely above a whisper. "I'm sorry." Vincent's hands clenched into fists on the table. "You're sorry? You hid my daughter from me for 3 years and you're sorry?" "You left," Rebecca said, her eyes flashing. "You left to build your empire. You said you couldn't give me the life I deserved, remember? You said you had to focus on business. What was I supposed to do? Call you and say, 'Hey, I know you just walked away from everything we had, but surprise, I'm pregnant.'" "Yes," Vincent said through clenched teeth, keeping his voice low so Emma would not hear. "That's exactly what you should have done." "You made your choice," Rebecca shot back. "I made mine." Emma looked up at them, her hot chocolate mustache making her look even more adorable and innocent. "Why are you guys talking angry?" Rebecca's expression softened immediately. She reached over and wiped Emma's upper lip with a napkin. "We're not angry, sweetie. We're just having a grown-up conversation." Emma considered this for a moment, then shrugged and went back to her marshmallows, apparently satisfied with the explanation. Vincent forced himself to take a deep breath. Getting angry would solve nothing. He needed answers. He needed to understand. More than that, he needed to figure out what happened next, because one thing was absolutely certain in his mind. He was not walking away. Not this time. Not ever. "Tell me everything," he said quietly. "I want to know everything." Rebecca looked at him for a long moment as if trying to determine whether he truly meant it. Whatever she saw in his face must have convinced her because she nodded and began to speak. I found out I was pregnant 2 weeks after you left. Rebecca wrapped her hands around her coffee cup, though Vincent suspected it had nothing to do with warmth and everything to do with having something to hold on to. Emma hummed a Christmas song between sips of hot chocolate, oblivious to the gravity of what her mother was about to say. I took 3 tests, Rebecca continued, her voice steady but soft. I kept thinking they were wrong, that it was a mistake. But they all said the same thing. Pregnant, 2 to 3 weeks. She looked up at Vincent, and he saw the rawness in her eyes. I sat on my bathroom floor for 2 hours trying to figure out what to do. Vincent's jaw tightened. He wanted to ask why she had not called him immediately, but he already knew the answer. He had left. He had told her he needed to build something bigger, something worthy of her. He had walked away saying he would come back when he was the man she deserved. He had been so focused on becoming someone important that he had not realized he was already everything she needed. I picked up the phone 100 times, Rebecca said, as if reading his thoughts. I had your number ready. I would start to dial, and then I would remember what you said. That you needed time. That you had to focus on building your business without distractions. I didn't want to be the thing that held you back. You were never a distraction, Vincent said roughly. You were everything. Rebecca's eyes glistened. That's not what it felt like when you left. Emma suddenly piped up, apparently finished with her drink. Mommy, can I go look at the toys over there? She pointed to a small display near the counter with wooden puzzles and coloring books. Rebecca glanced over, checking that it was within view, then nodded. Stay where I can see you, baby. Okay. Emma bounced off, her energy seemingly endless despite the late hour. With Emma out of earshot, Rebecca leaned forward. I was scared, Vincent. Terrified. I was 24 years old, working as a graphic designer, making barely enough to cover rent. And you were gone, building something dangerous, something I didn't fully understand but knew was pulling you into a world I couldn't follow you into. You should have told me, Vincent said, but his voice had lost its edge. He was beginning to understand the impossible position she had been in. Maybe, Rebecca admitted. But I made a choice. I decided that if you wanted to leave to build your empire, then I would build something too. I would build a life for our baby. I worked 2 jobs during my pregnancy. I saved every penny. I moved into a smaller apartment. I did what I had to do. Vincent felt admiration war with anger inside him. She had been strong, incredibly strong, but she had also robbed him of something he could never get back. The birth, he said hoarsely. Tell me about the birth. Rebecca's expression softened, a small smile touching her lips despite the tears in her eyes. September 14th, 7 in the morning, 12 hours of labor. She came out screaming bloody murder, and when they put her on my chest, she stopped crying and just looked at me with these huge dark eyes. She paused. Your eyes. Vincent had to look away. He focused on Emma, who was now carefully examining a wooden train set, her little fingers tracing the wheels. He had missed that moment, the moment his daughter entered the world, the moment that changed everything. I almost called you that day, Rebecca continued. I was holding her, and she was so perfect, and all I could think was that you deserved to know, that she deserved to have her father. But then I looked at my phone and saw you had posted something online, a photo at some business dinner. You were in a suit, surrounded by important-looking people, and you looked so different. So far from the Vincent I knew. I convinced myself you had moved on, that you were living the life you wanted. I never moved on, Vincent said, turning back to her. The words came out more forcefully than he intended. Not for a single day. Every business deal, every meeting, every success, I thought about you. I built everything thinking someday I would be good enough to come back, to prove I could give you the world. Rebecca's breath hitched. You were always good enough. They stared at each other across the table, years of missed opportunities hanging between them. Vincent saw the woman he had loved, still loved, looking back at him with the same intensity he felt. Nothing had changed. Everything had changed. Emma came skipping back, clutching a small wooden reindeer. Mommy, can we get this, please? I'll be extra super good. Rebecca wiped her eyes quickly and examined the toy. It's $15, Emma. That's a lot of money. I'll buy it, Vincent said immediately, already reaching for his wallet. Vincent, no, Rebecca started. Please, he said, his voice gentler. Let me do this. Let me do something. Rebecca hesitated, then nodded slowly. Emma squealed with delight and threw her arms around Vincent's leg, hugging him tightly. Vincent froze, completely unprepared for the rush of emotion that simple gesture caused. He carefully placed his hand on her small back, feeling how tiny she was, how fragile. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Emma sang out. Vincent paid for the reindeer while Emma chattered about how she would name it Jingle, and it would be friends with her stuffed reindeer Rudolph. When they returned to the table, Emma climbed into the chair between Vincent and Rebecca, holding both reindeer and making them dance together. She's beautiful, Vincent said, watching his daughter play. She's perfect. She asks about her father sometimes, Rebecca said quietly. I've always told her that her daddy loves her very much, but he lives far away. I didn't want her to think she wasn't wanted. Vincent's throat tightened. What else does she know? Nothing specific, just that she has a daddy somewhere who thinks about her. I have a photo of you from before. Sometimes she asks to see it. Rebecca pulled out her phone and showed him. It was a picture he had forgotten existed. Him and Rebecca at a beach, his arm around her shoulders, both of them laughing at something. He remembered that day. It had been perfect. You kept that? Vincent asked. I kept everything, Rebecca admitted. I couldn't let you go, not completely. Emma suddenly looked up at Vincent with those impossibly dark eyes. Are you my daddy? The question hit Vincent like a bullet. He looked at Rebecca, who had gone pale. They had not discussed this. They had not planned how to tell her. But Emma was staring at him with a child's perfect intuition, and Vincent found he could not lie. Would you like me to be? He asked carefully. Emma considered this very seriously, her little face scrunching up in thought. Do you like hot chocolate? Vincent blinked at the unexpected question. Yes. Do you like Christmas? Very much. Do you like my mommy? Vincent's eyes met Rebecca's. More than anything in the world. Emma broke into a wide smile. Then okay, you can be my daddy. Rebecca let out a sound that was half laugh, half sob. She covered her mouth with her hand, tears streaming down her face. Vincent felt his own eyes burning. Just like that, as if it were the simplest thing in the world, as if 3 years of absence could be bridged by hot chocolate and Christmas and love. Emma, Rebecca said, her voice shaking. Honey, this is something we need to talk about more, okay? It's complicated. Why? Emma asked, confused. He said he likes you. You're always sad on Christmas. Maybe you need a daddy too. Vincent could not help it. He laughed. It was the first real laugh he had experienced in years, and it felt like breaking through ice. Rebecca was laughing too, even through her tears, shaking her head at their daughter's innocent logic. She's not wrong, Vincent said, looking at Rebecca with an intensity that made her breath catch. Maybe you do need someone. The air between them shifted, charged. Rebecca's cheeks flushed, and Vincent felt the pull between them that had never really gone away. 4 years apart, and his body still responded to her presence like a compass finding north. Emma yawned suddenly, a huge yawn that seemed too big for her little body. She leaned against Rebecca's arm, her eyelids drooping. I'm sleepy. Rebecca checked her watch. It's almost 9. Way past bedtime. She looked at Vincent, uncertainty crossing her features. We should go. Where do you live? Vincent asked. Brooklyn, about 30 minutes from here. It's Christmas Eve. The trains will be packed. Let me drive you. Rebecca opened her mouth to protest, but Emma was already falling asleep against her, and Rebecca looked exhausted herself. Okay, she finally agreed. Thank you. Vincent called his driver while Rebecca bundled Emma up. The little girl barely stirred, already drifting off. When they stepped outside, Vincent's black sedan was waiting. His driver, Marcus, opened the door without a word, his expression carefully neutral despite probably wondering who the woman and child were. Rebecca slid into the back seat with Emma, who immediately curled up with her head in her mother's lap. Vincent sat across from them, unable to take his eyes off the picture they made. His family. The thought was still surreal. As they drove through the snowy streets, Christmas lights blurring past the windows, Vincent watched Rebecca gently stroke Emma's hair. Her touch was so tender, so full of love. She had done this alone for 3 years. Every sleepless night, every worry, every milestone, alone. "I want to be part of her life," Vincent said into the quiet car. "I want to be part of both of your lives." Rebecca looked up at him, her hand stilling on Emma's hair. "Vincent, your world will adapt," he said firmly. "I've built an empire. I can rebuild my life too. She's my daughter. You're—" He paused, choosing his words carefully. "You're the only woman I've ever loved. I'm not walking away again. Not this time." Rebecca's eyes filled with fresh tears. "It's been 4 years. We're different people now. Are we?" Vincent leaned forward, his elbows on his knees, closing the distance between them. "Because when I look at you, I see the same woman I fell in love with. The woman I've dreamed about every single night. The woman I've built everything for, even if I was too stupid to realize it at the time." "Vincent," she whispered. "I know I don't deserve a second chance," he continued. "I know I made mistakes. But I'm asking anyway. Let me know my daughter. Let me prove I can be the man you both need." The car pulled up to a modest apartment building in Brooklyn. Rebecca looked out the window, then back at Vincent. Emma stirred slightly, mumbling something about Santa in her sleep. "Tomorrow," Rebecca said finally. "Come for dinner tomorrow. We can talk more. You can spend time with Emma when she's actually awake." She managed a small smile. "She's a lot more energetic when she's not half asleep." "Tomorrow," Vincent agreed. "What time?" 5. "We usually eat early on Christmas." Vincent nodded, committing it to memory. Marcus opened the door, and Rebecca carefully lifted Emma. Vincent stepped out too, unable to just let them walk away. He helped Rebecca with the door to the building, carrying the bag of toys they had collected throughout the evening. At the entrance, Rebecca turned back. In the glow of the Christmas lights strung around the doorway, she looked ethereal. "Vincent?" "Yes?" "I never stopped loving you either." Before he could respond, before he could process what she had just admitted, Rebecca disappeared inside with Emma. Vincent stood there in the falling snow, staring at the closed door, his heart pounding against his ribs. He climbed back into the car, his mind racing. Marcus glanced at him in the rearview mirror. "Home, sir?" Vincent reached up and touched his face, surprised to find it wet. He was crying. He could not remember the last time he had cried. "Yeah," he said roughly. "Home." As the car pulled away, Vincent looked back at the building. Somewhere up there was his daughter, his Emma, and the woman he never should have left. Tomorrow could not come fast enough. Vincent did not sleep that night. He spent hours online, searching for information about 3-year-olds. What they liked, what they needed, what made them laugh. He read articles about child development and watched videos of fathers playing with their daughters. By the time the sun rose on Christmas morning, he had filled an entire notepad with ideas and questions. At 8 in the morning, he was already dressed and pacing his penthouse apartment. Dinner was not until 5. That meant 9 hours. 9 hours felt like an eternity. He called his sister Sophia at 8:30, knowing she would already be awake with her own 2 kids. "Merry Christmas, big brother," Sophia answered cheerfully. "Please tell me you're coming to Mom's later." "She made enough food to feed an army and keeps asking when you'll arrive." "I can't make it today," Vincent said. "Something came up." "On Christmas? Vincent, what could possibly be more important than—" "I have a daughter." Silence. Complete, absolute silence. "Sophia?" "I'm sorry, what?" His sister's voice had gone up an octave. "You have a what?" Vincent told her everything. About seeing Rebecca on the street, about Emma, about the 3 years he had missed. When he finished, Sophia was crying. "Oh my God, Vincent, a daughter. You have a daughter." She sniffled loudly. "What's her name?" "Emma Rose." "That's beautiful. Does she look like you?" She has my eyes. Rebecca's hair. Vincent paused. Sophia, I need your help. What do I bring? What does a 3-year-old want for Christmas? His sister laughed through her tears. You're really doing this. You're really going to be a dad. I already am one. I just need to catch up. Sophia helped him make a list. Then she made him promise to bring Emma and Rebecca to meet the family soon. Vincent agreed, though the thought of introducing them to his loud, overwhelming Italian family made him nervous. One step at a time. By 10 o'clock, Vincent was at a toy store. It was absolute chaos. Parents everywhere, children screaming, employees looking exhausted. Vincent moved through the aisles with purpose, picking up everything Sophia had suggested. A dollhouse, art supplies, books, stuffed animals, building blocks, dress-up clothes with princess crowns and fairy wings. Sir, would you like a cart? An employee asked, eyeing the growing pile in Vincent's arms. Yes. Actually, make it 2 carts. By the time Vincent left, he had spent over $3,000. He did not care. He had 3 Christmases to make up for, and he was just getting started. He stopped at a bakery next, remembering how Rebecca loved their chocolate croissants. He bought a whole box. Then he found a flower shop and bought 2 bouquets, roses for Rebecca, and after asking the florist for help, a smaller arrangement of daisies for Emma, because the woman assured him little girls loved daisies. At 4:30, Vincent stood outside Rebecca's building with bags and boxes stacked around him. His driver had helped carry everything up, and now Vincent found himself staring at apartment 3B, his heart hammering. He knocked. Footsteps. Then Emma's voice, bright and excited. Mommy, someone's here! The door opened. Rebecca stood there in a dark green sweater and jeans, her hair pulled back in a ponytail. She looked young and beautiful and so familiar it hurt. Her eyes widened when she saw all the bags. Vincent, what did you do? Merry Christmas, he said, suddenly feeling awkward. I might have gone a little overboard. Emma pushed past her mother, her eyes going huge. Are those all presents? Are they for me? Emma, manners? Rebecca chided gently, but she was smiling. Most of them are for you, Vincent confirmed, crouching down to Emma's level. I had 3 Christmases to catch up on. I hope that's okay. Emma looked at her mother, then back at Vincent, then squealed so loudly Vincent worried about his eardrums. She threw herself at him, wrapping her little arms around his neck. Vincent carefully hugged her back, overwhelmed by how natural it felt. Best Christmas ever, Emma declared. Rebecca helped Vincent bring everything inside. The apartment was small but cozy, decorated with obvious care. A modest Christmas tree stood in the corner, covered in handmade ornaments. Stockings hung from the windowsill. The scent of something delicious cooking filled the air. I made pot roast, Rebecca said, following his gaze to the kitchen. I hope that's okay. It's nothing fancy. It's perfect, Vincent said honestly. Everything about this place was perfect. It was a home. Something his penthouse with its expensive furniture and city views had never been. Emma was already tearing into the presents, her excited shrieks filling the apartment. She pulled out the dollhouse first, gasping, Mommy, look, it's the one from the store, the one I showed you. Rebecca's eyes met Vincent's. Vincent, this is too much. It's not enough, he said quietly. It will never be enough. For the next hour, Vincent sat on the floor with Emma, helping her set up the dollhouse. She narrated elaborate stories about the tiny family that lived inside, assigning voices to each character. Vincent found himself completely absorbed, adding his own suggestions, making her giggle with silly voices. Rebecca watched from the couch, her expression soft. At one point, Emma insisted Vincent play the daddy doll while she played the mommy doll and a little girl doll. They acted out a scene where the family had breakfast together, and Vincent felt his chest tighten at the simple domesticity of it. Now the daddy has to go to work, Emma announced, making the daddy doll walk toward the door. Does he have to go? Vincent asked, playing along. Yes, but he comes back, Emma said seriously. Daddies always come back. The innocence of the statement hit Vincent hard. He glanced at Rebecca, who had tears in her eyes. This was what Emma had been told. That daddies came back, and Vincent was determined to prove that true. "Okay, Emma," Rebecca said, her voice slightly thick. "Time to wash hands for dinner." Emma protested but obeyed, skipping off to the bathroom. Vincent stood, his knees aching from sitting on the floor. He was not used to this, but he wanted to get used to it. "She loves you already," Rebecca said softly. "She's never been like this with anyone." "She's incredible," Vincent said. "Rebecca, I can't believe you raised her alone. She's so smart and funny and kind. You did an amazing job." Rebecca's cheeks flushed. "I did my best." It was more than enough. They stared at each other, the air between them charged with unspoken feelings. Vincent took a step closer. "Rebecca, I meant what I said yesterday. I want to be here. For Emma, for you. I know it won't be easy. I know we have a lot to figure out. But I'm not going anywhere." "Your work," Rebecca started. "The things you're involved in are not more important than this," Vincent interrupted. "I've already started making changes. I have people who can handle the day-to-day operations. I can step back from the dangerous parts. I want to be a father, Rebecca. I want to be someone Emma can be proud of." "She already is," Rebecca whispered. "She hasn't stopped smiling since you got here." Vincent reached up slowly, giving Rebecca plenty of time to pull away. When she did not, he gently cupped her face, his thumb brushing her cheek. "And what about you? Are you happy I'm here?" Rebecca's breath hitched. "Yes," she admitted. "I'm terrified, but yes." "I'm back," Emma announced, running back into the room with wet hands. She was shaking everywhere. "Can Vincent sit next to me at dinner?" Rebecca stepped back, breaking the moment, but her cheeks were flushed and her eyes were bright. "Of course he can, baby." Dinner was chaotic and wonderful. Emma talked non-stop, telling Vincent about her preschool, her best friend Lily, her teacher, her favorite cartoon. She demonstrated how she could count to 20 and showed off her ability to spell her name. Every few minutes, she would reach over and pat Vincent's hand, as if making sure he was still there. Vincent absorbed every detail. He learned that Emma hated broccoli but loved carrots, that she was afraid of the dark but brave about everything else, that she wanted to be a veterinarian when she grew up because she loved animals, that her favorite color was purple, not pink, even though everyone always assumed pink. After dinner, they watched a Christmas movie. Emma insisted on sitting between Vincent and Rebecca on the couch, holding both their hands. Halfway through, she climbed into Vincent's lap, her head resting against his chest. Vincent froze, afraid to move and disturb her. Rebecca smiled at his obvious discomfort. "You're doing fine," she mouthed. Vincent carefully wrapped his arms around Emma, feeling her small body relax against him. She smelled like strawberry shampoo and childhood. His throat tightened with emotion. This was his daughter, his little girl, and she trusted him completely. By the time the movie ended, Emma was asleep. Vincent held her carefully as Rebecca led the way to Emma's bedroom. It was small but cheerful, painted pale yellow with glow in the dark stars on the ceiling. Drawings covered the walls, clearly Emma's artwork. Rebecca pulled back the covers, and Vincent laid Emma down gently. She stirred slightly, mumbling something about reindeer, then settled. Rebecca tucked her in, kissing her forehead. Vincent stood awkwardly, not sure what to do. "You can kiss her goodnight," Rebecca whispered. "She won't mind." Vincent leaned down and pressed a soft kiss to Emma's forehead, his hand trembling slightly. "Good night, sweetheart," he whispered. They left the room quietly, leaving the door cracked open. In the living room, the silence felt heavy. Vincent picked up his coat, preparing to leave, but Rebecca touched his arm. "Stay," she said. "Just for a little while. We should talk." Vincent set his coat down. They sat on the couch, a careful distance between them. Outside, it had started snowing again, the flakes visible in the glow of the streetlights. "Thank you for today," Rebecca said. "You made her so happy." "She made me happy too," Vincent said. "I didn't know I could feel like this, like everything finally makes sense." Rebecca smiled sadly. "I felt that way the day she was born. Like suddenly I understood what I was supposed to be doing with my life." "Why didn't you tell me?" Vincent asked, not accusingly, just needing to understand. Really? I know what you said yesterday, but there has to be more. Rebecca was quiet for a long moment. I was angry. She finally admitted. You left me, Vincent. You said you loved me, and then you walked away. I was hurt and stubborn, and when I found out I was pregnant, part of me thought it served you right to miss out, that you made your choice and you had to live with it. She wiped her eyes. I know that was wrong. I know I should have told you anyway. But I was 24 and scared and trying to figure out how to survive. It was easier to be angry than to admit how much I missed you. Vincent moved closer, taking her hand. I'm sorry I left. I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I needed to be more successful, more established, more worthy. I was an idiot. We both made mistakes, Rebecca said. But we have a chance now, a chance to do better. For Emma. For Emma, Vincent agreed. And for us? Rebecca looked at their joined hands. I don't know, Vincent. 4 years is a long time. We're not the same people we were. Aren't we? Vincent shifted even closer, his free hand coming up to tilt her chin so she had to look at him. Because I look at you and I feel exactly the same way I did 4 years ago. Like you're the only person in the world who matters. Like I would do anything to make you smile. Vincent, Rebecca breathed. He leaned in slowly, watching her eyes. They were so close he could feel her breath on his lips. Tell me to stop, he whispered. Tell me this is too fast, too soon, and I'll back off. But Rebecca, I need you to know. I never stopped loving you. Not for a single moment. I never stopped either. She whispered back. Vincent closed the distance, his lips meeting hers softly. Rebecca made a small sound, her hand coming up to grip his shirt. The kiss was gentle at first, tentative, like they were rediscovering each other. Then Rebecca leaned in, and the kiss deepened, 4 years of longing pouring into it. When they finally pulled apart, both breathing hard, Vincent rested his forehead against hers. I've missed you so much. I've missed you too, Rebecca admitted. Every day. They sat there in the glow of the Christmas tree lights, holding each other, neither wanting to let go. Vincent felt something shift inside him. This was what he had been searching for all along. Not power or success or respect. Just this. A woman he loved, and a daughter who made everything worthwhile. Mommy? They jumped apart. Emma stood in the doorway, rubbing her eyes, clutching her reindeer. I had a bad dream. Rebecca immediately went to her, scooping her up. It's okay, baby. Mommy's here. Emma looked over Rebecca's shoulder at Vincent. Is Vincent still here? I'm still here, Vincent confirmed, walking over to them. Good, Emma said, yawning. I don't want you to leave. Vincent felt his heart crack open. He touched Emma's hair gently. I'm not going anywhere, sweetheart. I promise. Emma smiled sleepily, then reached out for Vincent. Surprised, he took her from Rebecca's arms. She immediately snuggled against his chest, her little arms around his neck. You're warm, she mumbled. Vincent looked at Rebecca helplessly, this tiny person in his arms, trusting him completely. Rebecca smiled, her eyes shining with unshed tears. Come on, she said quietly. Let's get her back to bed. Vincent carried Emma back to her room, marveling at how light she was, how perfectly she fit against him. Rebecca pulled back the covers again, but when Vincent tried to lay Emma down, she held on tighter. Stay, she mumbled, half asleep. Please. Vincent looked at Rebecca, who nodded. He carefully climbed onto the small bed, Emma still in his arms. She settled against him with a contented sigh. Rebecca covered them both with a blanket. Then, to Vincent's surprise, she climbed in on Emma's other side. They lay there, Emma between them, the three of them fitting together like pieces of a puzzle. Vincent reached across and found Rebecca's hand. She squeezed back. Merry Christmas, Emma mumbled, already drifting off. Merry Christmas, baby, Rebecca whispered. Vincent looked at his daughter, then at the woman he loved, and felt complete for the first time in 4 years. Whatever happened next, whatever challenges they faced, they would face them together. And that was worth more than any empire he could ever build. Vincent woke to sunlight streaming through pale yellow curtains and the sensation of someone poking his cheek. He opened his eyes to find Emma's face inches from his, her dark eyes studying him intently. "You're still here," she announced, sounding pleased. "I'm still here," Vincent confirmed, his voice rough with sleep. He glanced to the other side of the bed. Rebecca was gone, but he could hear movement in the kitchen and smell coffee brewing. "Mommy's making pancakes," Emma informed him. "She only makes pancakes on special days." "Is today special?" "Every day with you is special," Vincent said, making Emma giggle. She climbed over him to get out of bed, accidentally elbowing him in the stomach. Vincent grunted, but could not help smiling. This was what normal fathers experienced every morning. The chaos and joy of a child who did not understand personal space. He found Rebecca in the kitchen, her hair messy from sleep, wearing an oversized sweater and leggings. She looked beautiful. She turned when she heard him, a smile spreading across her face. "Good morning," she said softly. "I was going to wake you, but you looked so peaceful." "I haven't slept that well in years," Vincent admitted. It was true. Despite the cramped bed and Emma's habit of sprawling, he had slept dreamlessly and deeply. Emma appeared, dragging Vincent by the hand. "Come on, you have to sit next to me again." The morning passed in a blur of pancakes, Emma's constant chatter, and stolen glances between Vincent and Rebecca. When Emma was distracted with her new toys, Rebecca pulled Vincent aside. "I have to work tomorrow," she said apologetically. "I took vacation days for Christmas, but I'm back to the office on the 26th. "What do you do?" Vincent realized he did not know. 4 years apart meant so many gaps to fill. "I'm a senior graphic designer at a marketing firm. It's good work. Flexible hours so I can pick Emma up from preschool." She paused. "What about you? What exactly do you do now?" Vincent chose his words carefully. "I run several businesses, import, export, real estate investments. Some of it is complicated. Some of it is in areas I'm not proud of." He met her eyes. "But I'm making changes. I want to be someone Emma can look up to." Rebecca studied him for a long moment. "I believe you." "Mommy," Emma called from the living room. "Can we go see the Christmas lights today, please?" Rebecca laughed. "It's not even noon yet, Emma. But they're so pretty, and Vincent hasn't seen them with us." Vincent felt his heart squeeze at the casual way Emma included him now, as if he had always been part of their lives. "I would love to see the Christmas lights." So they bundled up that afternoon and took the subway to Diker Heights, where the neighborhood went all out with elaborate Christmas displays. Emma held both their hands, swinging between them, her excited voice carrying over the crowd. The displays were spectacular. Houses covered in thousands of lights, animated figures, entire front yards transformed into winter wonderlands. Emma stopped at every single one, oohing and eyeing, pointing out her favorites. "That one has penguins," she squealed. "And that one has a whole carousel. Mommy, look, that Santa is waving." Vincent found himself laughing more than he had in years. Emma's enthusiasm was infectious. At one particularly elaborate display, she insisted Vincent lift her onto his shoulders so she could see better. He did, steadying her small legs, feeling her hands grip his hair for balance. "This is the best day ever," Emma declared from her perch. Rebecca took a photo on her phone, capturing the moment. When Vincent caught her eye, she was crying again, but smiling. Happy tears. They stopped for hot chocolate at a street vendor. Emma got whipped cream on her nose, making Vincent laugh. He wiped it off gently with a napkin, and Emma giggled, doing it again on purpose just to make him laugh more. "She's testing you," Rebecca said, amused, "seeing how much she can get away with." "She can get away with anything," Vincent admitted. "I'm completely wrapped around her finger already." "That makes 2 of us," Rebecca said. As the sun set and the lights became even more magical, Emma started to tire. She walked between them now instead of running ahead, her steps slower. Vincent noticed and scooped her up without asking. She settled against his chest immediately, her head on his shoulder. "I like you," Emma mumbled sleepily. "You're nice." "I like you too," Vincent said, his voice thick. "Very much." On the subway ride home, Emma fell asleep completely. Vincent held her while Rebecca leaned against his other side, her head resting near his shoulder. It felt domestic and perfect and terrifying all at once. Vincent had built his life around control and power. But this feeling of being responsible for these two precious people, was both the scariest and most important thing he had ever done. Back at the apartment, Vincent laid Emma in her bed while Rebecca changed her into pajamas. Emma barely stirred, exhausted from the day. They left her room quietly, pulling the door closed. In the living room, Rebecca collapsed on the couch. "I'm exhausted. How does she have so much energy?" Vincent sat next to her, closer than necessary. "She's amazing. You've done such an incredible job raising her." "I had help," Rebecca said. "My mom watches her sometimes. And my best friend Sarah." "It takes a village, you know." "I want to meet them," Vincent said. "Your mom, your friends, everyone important to you." Rebecca turned to face him fully. "Vincent, we need to talk about what this is, what we're doing." "I know what I want," Vincent said immediately. "I want you. I want Emma. I want to be a family." "It's not that simple," Rebecca protested, though her voice was soft. 4 years, Vincent. We missed so much. We've both changed." "Have we?" Vincent took her hand, his thumb tracing circles on her palm. "Because when I'm with you, I feel like the man I was before. The man who loved you so completely he could not think straight. Except now I'm better, stronger, more capable of being what you need." "What I need," Rebecca repeated quietly. "Do you know what I need?" "Tell me," Vincent said, leaning closer. "Tell me and I'll give it to you. Anything." Rebecca's breath hitched. "I need to know you won't leave again. That when things get hard, you'll stay. Because I can handle a lot, Vincent. I've proven that. But I cannot handle you breaking Emma's heart. Or mine. Not again." Vincent cupped her face with both hands, forcing her to look at him. "I swear to you, on everything I have, on my life, I am not going anywhere. You and Emma are my priority now. Nothing else matters. Your business can be managed by other people. I've already started delegating. The dangerous stuff, the questionable deals, I'm pulling out of all of it. I have enough money to last several lifetimes. What I don't have is time. Time with my daughter. Time with you. And I'm not wasting another second." Rebecca's eyes searched his face, looking for any hint of doubt or deception. Whatever she found must have satisfied her because she closed the distance between them, kissing him hard. Vincent responded immediately, his arms wrapping around her, pulling her closer. The kiss was different from the night before, less tentative, more demanding. 4 years of separation, of longing, of loneliness poured into it. Rebecca's hands fisted in his shirt, pulling him even closer. Vincent groaned, his control slipping. He had forgotten how she tasted, how perfectly she fit against him, how every touch set him on fire. They broke apart, both breathing hard. Rebecca's lips were swollen, her eyes shining with emotion. "Emma's asleep," she whispered. Vincent cupped her face gently. "Rebecca, we don't have to rush anything. I'm not going anywhere." "I know," she said softly, "but I've waited 4 years, Vincent. I don't want to wait anymore. Stay with me tonight." Vincent kissed her forehead, then her lips, pouring everything he felt into that connection. "Always." They moved to her bedroom, closing the door quietly behind them. Vincent held Rebecca close, their foreheads touching as they simply breathed together for a moment. 4 years of separation, of longing, of missing each other, all melting away in the comfort of being together again. "I've missed this," Rebecca whispered. "Missed you. Missed us. Never again," Vincent promised softly. "I'm never leaving you again." They settled onto the bed together, wrapped in each other's arms. Vincent held Rebecca close, stroking her hair, placing gentle kisses on her forehead. She rested her head against his chest, listening to his heartbeat, her hand over his heart. For hours they stayed like that, talking in whispers about their years apart, about Emma, about their dreams for the future. Vincent told her about the lonely nights when he thought of her. Rebecca shared how she used to look at Emma and see him in every expression. They laughed softly, cried together, and simply held each other. Eventually, exhaustion caught up with them. Rebecca fell asleep first, safe in Vincent's arms. He lay awake a while longer, watching her peaceful face in the moonlight streaming through the window, still amazed that she was giving him this second chance. When morning came, they lay tangled together, fully clothed, but closer than they had been in years. Rebecca traced patterns on Vincent's chest, her head resting over his heart. He played with her hair, content to just hold her. "I love you," Vincent said into the quiet. "I never stopped." "I love you too," Rebecca whispered back. "I tried not to. It would have been easier. But I couldn't stop." Vincent kissed the top of her head. "What do we tell Emma?" "The truth," Rebecca said. "That you're her father. That we love each other. That we're going to try to be a family." She paused. "That's what you want, right? To really try?" "More than anything," Vincent confirmed. "I want to marry you, Rebecca. I want Emma to have my last name. I want us to be official." Rebecca lifted her head, surprised. "That's moving fast." "We already have a 3-year-old together," Vincent pointed out. "I think we skipped some steps." Rebecca laughed, the sound filling the room. "Fair point." They lay in comfortable silence for a while longer. Then Rebecca's stomach growled loudly, making them both laugh. "We never had dinner," she realized. "I'll order something," Vincent said, reaching for his phone. "What do you want?" "Chinese food," Rebecca said immediately. "From Golden Dragon. They know my order." Vincent called and placed an order big enough for 3, including extra egg rolls because Rebecca mentioned Emma loved them. While they waited, they got dressed and returned to the living room. Rebecca checked on Emma, who was still sound asleep, then joined Vincent on the couch. He pulled her close, and she settled against him naturally, as if they had never been apart. "What happens next?" Rebecca asked. "Practically, I mean. You have your life, your businesses. I have my job and Emma's preschool. How do we make this work?" "We figure it out together," Vincent said. "Maybe I get a place closer to you, or maybe eventually you both move in with me. Whatever makes sense. Whatever keeps us together." "Emma loves her preschool," Rebecca said, "and I can't just quit my job." "I'm not asking you to," Vincent assured her. "We'll take it slow. Well, slower," he amended with a smile. "Let Emma get used to having me around. Let us get used to being together again. Then we make bigger decisions." Rebecca nodded, satisfied with the answer. The food arrived, and they ate straight from the containers, talking about everything and nothing. Vincent learned that Rebecca had taken up painting, that she still hated mornings, that she watched terrible reality TV shows when Emma was asleep because they did not require thinking. Rebecca learned that Vincent had started working out obsessively to deal with stress, that he had tried dating but nothing stuck because no one was her, that he had kept every photo of them, stored in a box he looked at when he was feeling particularly lonely. "We wasted so much time," Rebecca said sadly. "Then we won't waste any more," Vincent said firmly. He pulled something from his pocket, a small velvet box. "I bought this 2 days ago, the day after I saw you." Rebecca's eyes widened. "Vincent, it's not an engagement ring," he said quickly. "Well, it is. But I'm not proposing. Not yet. I know we need time." He opened the box, revealing a delicate diamond ring. "This is a promise that I'm here, that I'm committed, that when you're ready, when we're both ready, I'm going to ask you properly, and I want you to say yes." Rebecca's hands shook as she took the box. "It's beautiful." "You don't have to wear it," Vincent said. "Not if it's too much. I just wanted you to have it, to know I'm serious." Rebecca looked at the ring, then at Vincent, then back at the ring. Slowly, she pulled it from the box and slid it onto her right hand. "I'll wear it," she said, "as a promise, that I'm serious too." Vincent kissed her, slow and deep, pouring everything he felt into it. When they broke apart, Rebecca was smiling through tears. "We're really doing this. she whispered. We're really giving us another chance. We're not just giving us another chance, Vincent corrected. We're building something new, something better, something that includes Emma and everything we've learned. A small voice came from the hallway. I'm hungry. They pulled apart to find Emma standing there, rubbing her eyes, her hair sticking up in every direction. She looked between them, taking in their position on the couch, and smiled knowingly. Were you kissing? She asked, not sounding upset about it. Yes, Rebecca said, deciding honesty was best. Good, Emma declared. That means Vincent can stay forever, right? Vincent laughed, pulling Emma onto his lap. Would you like that, if I stayed? Emma nodded vigorously. Then we can be a real family, like in my dollhouse. Vincent looked at Rebecca over Emma's head. She was crying again, but smiling so brightly it took his breath away. Then I'll stay, Vincent promised, hugging Emma close. Forever. Emma cheered, and Vincent felt something settle in his chest. This was right. This was what he had been searching for without knowing it. Not power or money or respect. Just this. Love and family and second chances. Whatever came next, they would face it together. The next 2 weeks passed in a blur of happiness Vincent had never imagined possible. He spent every available moment with Rebecca and Emma, learning the rhythms of their life, becoming part of their routine. He discovered that Emma hated having her hair brushed and would try to negotiate her way out of it every morning, that she insisted on wearing mismatched socks because matching was boring, that she had nightmares about monsters under the bed but was brave about everything else. Vincent started picking Emma up from preschool 3 days a week. The first time he arrived, Emma had run to him screaming, "Daddy!" at the top of her lungs, and Vincent had nearly collapsed from the emotional impact of that single word. The other parents had stared, and Emma's teacher, Miss Caroline, had looked confused, but Emma had been so proud introducing him that Vincent had not cared about anything else. "This is my daddy," Emma had announced to anyone who would listen. "He was far away, but now he's back forever. Forever." Vincent intended to keep that promise. He learned to make Emma's favorite breakfast, which was chocolate chip pancakes shaped like Mickey Mouse. He learned which stories she liked at bedtime and which ones scared her. He learned that she liked to sing in the bathtub and that she could not fall asleep without her stuffed reindeer Rudolph. Rebecca watched these moments with tears and smiles, documenting everything on her phone. Vincent caught her one evening watching a video of him and Emma playing hide-and-seek, laughing as Emma's terrible hiding skills were captured on camera. "What?" Vincent asked, wrapping his arms around her from behind. "You're a natural," Rebecca said softly. "I was worried you would struggle with the dad stuff, but you just fell right into it." "I'm making up for lost time," Vincent said, kissing her neck. "I don't want to miss anything else." Their own relationship deepened too. Vincent stayed over most nights, leaving early some mornings to handle business matters, but always returning before Emma woke up. He and Rebecca fell back into their old rhythms, finishing each other's sentences, communicating with looks across rooms, existing in that comfortable space couples create when they truly know each other. The physical connection was even stronger than before. They stole moments whenever Emma was occupied or asleep, rediscovering each other, making new memories. Vincent had forgotten how Rebecca made him feel completely alive, like every nerve ending was tuned specifically to her. 2 weeks after Christmas, Vincent's phone rang during breakfast. He glanced at the screen and his expression darkened. Rebecca noticed immediately. "What's wrong?" "It's Marco," Vincent said. Marco Vitelli was his second in command, someone he had trusted for years. "I need to take this." He stepped into the bedroom, closing the door. "What is it?" "We have a problem," Marco said without preamble. "Castellano wants a meeting, says it's urgent." Vincent's jaw clenched. Dominic Castellano was part of his past, the kind of business Vincent was trying to leave behind. "Tell him I'm not available." "He's insisting, boss. Says if you don't meet with him, he's coming to find you himself." Vincent's blood ran cold. "Is that a threat?" "Sounded like it to me." Vincent closed his eyes, thinking fast. He had known leaving certain aspects of his business would not be easy. People like Castellano did not accept rejection well. "Set up a meeting, tomorrow, neutral location. And Marco, I want this to be the last one. Make that clear." When Vincent returned to the kitchen, both Rebecca and Emma were watching him with concern. Emma's expression was confused, but Rebecca's was knowing. She had seen that look on his face before. "Vincent?" she asked quietly. "It's fine," he said, forcing a smile for Emma's benefit. "Just work stuff." But Rebecca was not fooled. After Vincent took Emma to preschool that morning, Rebecca was waiting when he returned, her arms crossed. "Talk to me," she said. "What's really going on?" Vincent sighed, running his hand through his hair. "Someone from my past wants a meeting. It's nothing dangerous, just business I'm trying to wrap up." "What kind of business?" Rebecca pressed. Vincent chose his words carefully. "The kind I told you I was getting out of. I've been working on transitioning everything to legitimate operations, but some people are not happy about my decision. They think I'm abandoning them." Rebecca's expression tightened with worry. "Is it dangerous? Are you in danger?" "No," Vincent said firmly, pulling her close. "I promise you I can handle this. One meeting, and I make it clear I'm done. That's it." "What if they don't accept that?" Rebecca asked, her voice small. "They will," Vincent said with more confidence than he felt, "because I'm going to make them understand that I have more important priorities now. You and Emma are my life. Nothing else matters." Rebecca hugged him tightly. "I'm scared." "Don't be," Vincent whispered into her hair. "I'm not letting anything happen to us. Trust me." The meeting was scheduled for that evening. Vincent dressed in one of his expensive suits, the armor he wore when conducting business. Rebecca watched him get ready, her anxiety palpable. "Come back to me," she said as he was leaving. "Always," Vincent promised, kissing her deeply. "I love you." The meeting location was a restaurant Castellano owned, closed to the public for this private conversation. Vincent arrived to find Castellano already seated, a glass of whiskey in front of him. Dominic Castellano was in his 50s, gray hair slicked back, expensive suit, cold eyes. He smiled when Vincent entered, but it did not reach those eyes. "Vincent Russo," Castellano said. "Been a while." "Dominic," Vincent acknowledged, sitting across from him. "What's this about?" "Straight to business. I always liked that about you." Castellano sipped his whiskey. "Word is you're pulling out of our arrangement, walking away from very profitable ventures." "That's right," Vincent confirmed. "I'm focusing on legitimate business now. My other operations are being transferred to capable people." "Capability isn't the issue," Castellano said, his voice hardening. "Loyalty is. We had agreements, Vincent. Long-term plans. You don't just walk away from those." "I am walking away," Vincent said firmly. "My circumstances have changed. I have a family now, a daughter. I'm not living this life anymore." Castellano laughed, but there was no humor in it. "A daughter? That's your reason?" "Vincent, we all have families. That's not an excuse to abandon your responsibilities." "They're not responsibilities I want anymore," Vincent said. "I've made my decision, Dominic. Respect it." "And if I don't?" Castellano leaned forward, his expression dangerous. "What then? You think you can just walk away and everything will be fine? This life doesn't work that way." Vincent felt his temper rising but controlled it. "I'm not asking permission. I'm informing you as a courtesy. I'm out. My people will handle the transition." "But I'm done." Castellano studied him for a long moment. "You've gone soft. That woman and kid have made you weak." "They've made me strong," Vincent corrected. "Strong enough to walk away from this. Strong enough to choose something better." "There is nothing better than power and money," Castellano spat. "You're wrong," Vincent said, standing. "There's love. There's family. There's waking up every morning knowing you're building something that matters." He placed both hands on the table, leaning down to meet Castellano's eyes. "I found what matters, Dominic, and I'm not giving it up for anything. Not for you, not for anyone." Castellano's expression turned ugly. "You're making a mistake, Russo." "No," Vincent said. "I'm fixing one." He walked out without looking back, his heart pounding. That could have gone worse, but it also could have gone better. Castellano was not someone who accepted defeat gracefully. Vincent would need to be careful, at least until he was completely clear of that world. When he arrived back at Rebecca's apartment, she was pacing anxiously. The moment she saw him, she ran into his arms. "You're okay?" she breathed. "I was so worried." "I'm fine," Vincent assured her, holding her tight. "It's over. I made my position clear." "And they accepted it?" Vincent hesitated. "Not exactly, but they will. I just need to be patient." Rebecca pulled back, searching his face. "Vincent, if there's danger—" "There's not," he interrupted. "I promise you, I will not let anything happen to our family. I just need to handle this carefully, give people time to adjust to my decision." Before Rebecca could respond, Emma came running out of her bedroom, launching herself at Vincent. "Daddy, you're home!" Vincent caught her, swinging her up. Every time she called him Daddy, it hit him with the same force as the first time. "Hey, sweetheart. Were you good for Mommy?" "So good," Emma declared. "We made cookies. Want one?" "I would love one," Vincent said, carrying her to the kitchen where a plate of slightly misshapen cookies waited. He ate 3 while Emma told him elaborate stories about the cookie baking process, complete with dramatic reenactments. Later, after Emma was asleep, Vincent and Rebecca lay in bed together. Rebecca traced the promise ring on her finger, thinking. "What is it?" Vincent asked. "I want you to meet my mother," Rebecca said. "And my friends. I want them to know you're back in my life, in Emma's life." Vincent smiled. "I want that too." "She's going to ask a million questions," Rebecca warned. "My mom is protective. She was there through everything, the pregnancy, the birth, all the sleepless nights. She's going to want to know your intentions." "My intentions are to marry you and be a father to Emma," Vincent said simply. "She can ask whatever she wants." "I have nothing to hide." Rebecca kissed him softly. "I love you." "I love you too," Vincent said. And Rebecca, "Thank you." "For what?" "For giving me another chance. For raising Emma to be so amazing. For not giving up on us even when I had." He cupped her face. "You're the strongest person I know." Rebecca's eyes filled with tears. "We're going to make this work. All of it. You, me, Emma. We're going to be happy." "We already are," Vincent said, pulling her closer. This is just the beginning. As they fell asleep tangled together, Vincent felt a certainty settle over him. Whatever obstacles came their way, whatever challenges from his past tried to intrude, he would handle them. Because nothing was more important than the 2 people sleeping in this apartment. Nothing. Meeting Rebecca's mother was more terrifying than any business negotiation Vincent had ever conducted. He stood outside a brownstone in Queens, holding a bouquet of flowers and a bottle of expensive wine, feeling like a teenager picking up his first date. "She's going to love you," Rebecca said, squeezing his hand. Emma bounced excitedly beside them, completely oblivious to Vincent's nerves. "Grandma makes the best lasagna in the whole world," Emma announced. "And she gives the best hugs, and she lets me stay up late." The door opened before they could knock. Patricia Hayes was a woman in her late 50s with the same green eyes as Rebecca and silver hair pulled into a bun. She looked Vincent up and down with an expression that could cut glass. "So you're the one who broke my daughter's heart," she said without preamble. "Mom!" Rebecca protested. "It's okay," Vincent said, stepping forward. "Mrs. Hayes, you're absolutely right. I did break her heart, and I've spent every day since trying to prove I'll never do it again. I know I don't deserve another chance, but I'm asking for one anyway." Patricia studied him for another long moment, then her expression softened slightly. "Well, at least you're honest. Come in before the food gets cold." Emma ran inside immediately, knowing the house well. Vincent and Rebecca followed more cautiously. The home was warm and inviting, filled with family photos and the incredible smell of Italian cooking. Over dinner, Patricia interrogated Vincent thoroughly. Where did he live? What did he do for work? How much money did he make? What were his intentions toward her daughter and granddaughter? Vincent answered every question honestly, not trying to hide anything. "I own several businesses," he explained. "Real estate, import operations, investments. I'm in the process of restructuring everything to focus on legitimate ventures, I want to be someone Emma can be proud of. And Rebecca? Patricia asked pointedly. What about her? Vincent looked at Rebecca, who was watching him with soft eyes. I want to marry her. I want us to be a proper family. I know we're doing things backward, but I love your daughter, Mrs. Hayes. I always have. Patricia's expression finally cracked into a smile. Call me Patricia. And you should know, I would have come looking for you years ago if Rebecca hadn't made me promise to stay out of it. I've been waiting to give you a piece of my mind. You can give me several pieces, Vincent said. I deserve it. Emma climbed into Patricia's lap, yawning despite having claimed she was not tired. Grandma, tell Vincent the story about when Mommy was little and got stuck in the tree. Oh, Emma, not that story, Rebecca groaned, but she was smiling. The evening passed with stories and laughter. Patricia showed Vincent embarrassing photos of Rebecca as a child, much to Rebecca's mortification. Emma fell asleep on the couch, and Vincent carried her to the guest room where she kept some clothes, tucking her in gently. When he returned, Patricia was alone in the kitchen, washing dishes. Vincent joined her, drying without being asked. She cried for months after you left, Patricia said quietly. Then when she found out she was pregnant, she cried even more. But she was also determined. My girl has always been strong. She's the strongest person I know. Vincent agreed. Emma asks about you sometimes, Patricia continued. She sees other kids with fathers and wonders why hers isn't around. Rebecca always tells her that her daddy loves her, but lives far away. But I see how it hurts her to say it. Vincent felt his throat tighten. I'm here now. I'm not going anywhere. Patricia turned to face him fully. You better not. Because if you hurt my girls again, I don't care how much money you have or how many businesses you own. I will make your life miserable. Vincent smiled despite the seriousness in her voice. I believe you, and I promise that will never happen. Patricia studied him, then nodded. Good. Now, when are you going to make an honest woman of my daughter? Soon, Vincent said. Very soon. 2 days later, Vincent received an urgent call from Marco. Boss, we need to meet. Now. Vincent's stomach dropped. The tone in Marco's voice was wrong. He arranged to meet at their usual spot, a coffee shop they used for private conversations. Marco looked stressed when Vincent arrived, his normally calm demeanor shaken. Castellano sent a message. He's not backing down. What kind of message? Vincent asked, though he dreaded the answer. He knows about Rebecca and Emma. He knows where they live. Vincent's blood turned to ice. Is that a threat? I think it's meant to be, Marco said carefully. He wants you to reconsider your decision. Says family men need to think carefully about their choices. Vincent's hands clenched into fists. That son of... Easy, Marco said. Losing your temper won't help. We need a plan. Vincent forced himself to breathe. I need security on Rebecca's apartment. 24/7. Best people we have. Already arranged, Marco said. I figured you'd want that. But Vincent, this could get messy. Castellano is not someone who makes empty threats. Then I'll make him understand this one is real, Vincent said coldly. Set up another meeting. Tonight. And Marco, I'm ending this, whatever it takes. Vincent drove to Rebecca's apartment immediately, his mind racing. He needed to tell her about the situation, but he did not want to scare her. More importantly, he needed to protect her and Emma. Rebecca was home from work playing with Emma on the living room floor. She smiled when she saw him, but it faded when she registered his expression. Emma, sweetie, why don't you go play in your room for a bit? Rebecca said, standing. But we're playing house, Emma protested. I know, baby. Just for a few minutes. Mommy needs to talk to Vincent. Emma pouted but obeyed, skipping to her room. The moment she was gone, Rebecca grabbed Vincent's arm. What happened? Vincent explained the situation as calmly as he could, watching Rebecca's face go pale. I've already arranged security. There are people watching the building right now. You and Emma are safe. Safe? Rebecca's voice rose. Vincent, someone is threatening my daughter. Our daughter, Vincent corrected gently. And I'm handling it. I'm meeting with Castellano tonight to make this stop. How? Rebecca demanded. How are you going to make this stop? These people don't just let you walk away. They will when they understand I'm serious, Vincent said. Rebecca, I need you to trust me. I will fix this. Rebecca's eyes filled with tears. I knew this would happen. I knew your old life would come back to hurt us. It won't, Vincent said firmly, pulling her into his arms despite her resistance. I swear to you, I will protect you both, whatever it takes. Rebecca finally let herself be held, crying against his chest. I'm so scared. I know, Vincent whispered, but you don't need to be. I've got this. The meeting that night was tense from the start. Castellano sat with two of his men flanking him, a power play Vincent recognized immediately. Vincent came alone, refusing to be intimidated. Did you get my message? Castellano asked with a smug smile. I got it, Vincent said, his voice dangerously calm. And now I'm delivering mine. Stay away from my family. Touch them, threaten them, even think about them, and there will be consequences you don't want to face. Castellano laughed. Is that supposed to scare me? It should, Vincent said. He pulled out his phone and showed Castellano a document on the screen. This is everything I know about your operations. Names, locations, financial records, political connections, everything. I've been documenting it for years as insurance. Castellano's smile faded. What are you doing? Right now, this information is sitting with 3 different lawyers with instructions to release it to federal authorities if anything happens to me or my family, anything at all. A car accident, a robbery, a random act of violence, anything. And Dominic, we both know there's enough here to put you away for life. Castellano's face turned red with anger. You're bluffing. Try me, Vincent said coldly. Go ahead, make a move against Rebecca or Emma, see what happens, because I promise you, I have nothing to lose and everything to protect. You want to know what that makes me? Dangerous. The silence stretched. Castellano's men shifted uncomfortably, sensing the shift in power. Finally, Castellano leaned back in his chair. You've changed, Russo. The old you would never have played this card. The old me didn't have a daughter, Vincent said. The old me didn't know what really mattered, but I do now. So here's how this is going to work. You leave me and my family alone. I leave you alone. We go our separate ways. I don't release the information, and you don't give me a reason to. Everyone wins. Castellano considered for a long moment, then nodded slowly. Fine, you're out. But Russo, if you ever— I won't, Vincent interrupted. As long as you keep your end, you'll never hear from me again. We're done. Vincent walked out feeling like a weight had been lifted off his shoulders. It was not a perfect solution, but it was enough. Castellano would not risk exposure, and Vincent had made his position clear. When he returned to Rebecca's apartment, she was waiting anxiously. The moment he walked in, she rushed to him. It's over, Vincent said before she could ask. He agreed. It's done. Rebecca sagged with relief. Really? Just like that? I had leverage, Vincent explained. Information he doesn't want public. I made it clear that threatening my family would mean his destruction. He's smart enough to back down. Rebecca hugged him tightly. I was so scared. I know, Vincent said, stroking her hair. But it's over now. We're safe. All of us. Emma appeared in the hallway, rubbing her eyes. Why is Mommy crying? Happy tears, baby, Rebecca said, wiping her face. Just happy tears. Emma walked over and hugged both of them. Vincent wrapped his arms around both his girls, feeling complete. This was what he had fought for. This moment right here. I have something to show you both, Vincent said suddenly. He had been planning this for days, waiting for the right moment. Can you get your coats? Now? Rebecca asked. Vincent, it's 9 o'clock. Trust me, he said with a smile. They bundled up and followed Vincent to his car. He drove them to a quiet neighborhood in Brooklyn, tree-lined streets with beautiful brownstones. He pulled up in front of one particular house, larger than the others with a small front yard. What are we doing here? Rebecca asked. Vincent pulled out a set of keys. This is ours, I bought it last week. Rebecca's mouth dropped open. You what? I bought us a house, Vincent repeated. 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a backyard for Emma to play in. It needs some work, but I thought we could fix it up together, make it exactly how we want it." "Vincent," Rebecca breathed, tears streaming down her face. "This is too much." "It's not enough," Vincent said. "You and Emma deserve a real home, our home, a place where we can build our future together." Emma was bouncing with excitement. "Can we see inside? Please?" Vincent unlocked the door and they stepped inside. The house was empty but beautiful, hardwood floors and high ceilings, large windows letting in moonlight. Emma ran through the rooms, her footsteps echoing, declaring which room would be hers. Rebecca turned to Vincent, overwhelmed. "I can't believe you did this." "Believe it," Vincent said. He got down on one knee, pulling out the velvet box he had been carrying for weeks. "And while we're here, I have one more thing to ask you." Rebecca's hands flew to her mouth. Emma stopped running, sensing something important was happening. "Rebecca Hayes," Vincent said, his voice thick with emotion. "4 years ago, I made the biggest mistake of my life by walking away from you. I'm not making that mistake again. You're the love of my life, the mother of my child, my best friend, my everything. I want to wake up next to you every morning and fall asleep holding you every night. I want to watch Emma grow up together. I want to build a life, a real life, with you both. Will you marry me?" Rebecca was crying so hard she could barely speak. "Yes," she managed. "Yes, yes, yes." Vincent slid the ring onto her finger, the one he had given her as a promise, now serving its true purpose. He stood and kissed her as Emma cheered, running circles around them. "We're getting married," Emma sang. "We're going to be a real family." "We already are," Vincent said, pulling Emma into the hug. "We already are." Standing in their empty house, the three of them holding each other, Vincent knew he had finally found what he had been searching for all along. Not power or success or wealth, just love, just family, just home. 3 days later, Vincent and Rebecca sat Emma down for a conversation they had been planning carefully. Emma listened with wide eyes as they explained that Vincent was her biological father, that he had not known about her, and that they were all going to be a family now. "So you've always been my daddy?" Emma asked, processing the information. "Even when you were far away?" "Always," Vincent confirmed, his voice thick. "I just didn't know it yet. But I'm here now, and I'm never leaving again." Emma thought about this very seriously, then broke into a huge smile. "Good, because I like having a daddy. Can I call you daddy at preschool now? Like for real?" Vincent laughed through the tears in his eyes. "You can call me daddy anywhere you want, sweetheart." Emma threw her arms around him. Best news ever. The wedding was planned quickly. Neither Vincent nor Rebecca wanted to wait. They chose New Year's Eve, wanting to start the new year as a married couple. It would be small and intimate, just family and close friends. Vincent's family descended on them 2 days before the wedding. His mother, Francesca, was a force of nature, a tiny Italian woman who cried the moment she saw Emma, immediately declaring her the most beautiful granddaughter in the world. "She has the Russo eyes," Francesca said, cupping Emma's face. "And the Russo spirit, I can tell already." Sophia, Vincent's sister, was equally emotional. She brought her own 2 children, who immediately adopted Emma as their cousin. Within minutes, the 3 kids were running through the house, laughing and playing as if they had known each other forever. "I can't believe you hid her from us for 3 years, Sophia said, swatting Vincent's arm. 3 years, Vincent. We could have been spoiling her this whole time." "I didn't know about her either," Vincent reminded her. "Still, we have so much lost time to make up for." Sophia watched Emma playing with her cousins and smiled. "She's perfect, Vince. Absolutely perfect." Rebecca was nervous meeting Vincent's large, loud family, but they embraced her immediately. Francesca insisted on cooking dinner for everyone, taking over Rebecca's kitchen and filling the house with the smells of homemade pasta and sauce. "You took good care of my granddaughter," Francesca said to Rebecca, tears in her eyes. "You raised her alone when you should not have had to. You are a strong woman. Vincent is lucky to have you." "I'm the lucky one," Rebecca said, hugging the older woman. The night before the wedding, Vincent stayed at his penthouse while Rebecca and Emma stayed at the house with Sophia and Francesca. It was the first night they had spent apart in weeks, and Vincent found he could not sleep. He kept thinking about tomorrow, about how his entire life had changed in less than a month. His phone buzzed with a text from Rebecca. "Can't sleep. Missing you already." Vincent smiled and called her. She answered on the first ring. "Hi," she said softly. "Hi," Vincent replied. "Cold feet?" "Never," Rebecca said. "Just excited and nervous and incredibly happy." "Is it normal to feel everything all at once?" "I think so," Vincent said. "I feel the same way. Like I'm about to start the rest of my life and I can't wait for it to begin." They talked for over an hour, about everything and nothing, about their hopes for the future, about Emma, about how they would decorate the house. When they finally hung up, Vincent felt at peace. Tomorrow, he was marrying the love of his life. Tomorrow, he was officially becoming Emma's father. Tomorrow, everything he had ever wanted was coming true. The wedding was held in the backyard of their new house, despite the December cold. Vincent had arranged for outdoor heaters and a white tent decorated with thousands of twinkling lights. Snow fell gently as guests arrived, creating a magical atmosphere. Emma was the flower girl, wearing a white dress with purple flowers that matched the bridesmaid dress Sophia wore. She took her role very seriously, walking down the aisle and dropping rose petals with focused concentration. Then Rebecca appeared, and Vincent forgot how to breathe. She wore a simple white dress that hugged her curves, her hair loose around her shoulders, a small bouquet of winter flowers in her hands. She was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. Patricia walked her down the aisle, crying openly. When they reached Vincent, Patricia placed Rebecca's hand in his. "Take care of my girls," she whispered. "With my life," Vincent promised. The ceremony was short but meaningful. They had written their own vows. Rebecca went first, her voice shaking with emotion. "Vincent, 4 years ago you left, and I thought I had lost you forever. But life had other plans. It gave us Emma, this beautiful miracle who brought us back together. Today I'm not just marrying the man I love. I'm marrying my best friend, my partner, and the father of my child. I promise to love you through everything, through the hard times and the easy times, through the chaos of raising a 3-year-old and whatever adventures come next. I promise to build a life with you that Emma can be proud of. I love you. I always have. I always will." Vincent had to clear his throat before he could speak, his eyes burning with tears. "Rebecca, I was lost before I found you. I spent years building an empire, thinking that was what would make me worthy. But standing here today, I realize I had it backward. You were always what made me worthy. You and Emma are my empire, my greatest achievement, my everything. I promise to be the man you both deserve, to be present for every moment, big and small, to love you fiercely and protect you always, to be the father Emma needs and the husband you deserve. 4 years ago, I made the mistake of leaving. Today, I'm making the promise to stay, forever." There was not a dry eye in the audience. Even Vincent's brother Marco, tough as nails, was wiping his face. The officiant pronounced them husband and wife. Vincent kissed Rebecca with everything he had, pouring 4 years of love and longing into it. Their guests erupted in applause, and Emma ran up to them, demanding to be part of the hug. "We're married," Emma shouted. "We're a real family now." "We were always a real family," Vincent said, lifting her up. "But now it's official." The reception was filled with laughter, dancing, and joy. Emma refused to leave the dance floor, dragging Vincent and Rebecca back again and again. Francesca cried through her entire toast about how she had prayed for Vincent to find happiness and how her prayers had been answered. As midnight approached, everyone gathered outside despite the cold. They counted down together, and when the clock struck 12, Vincent kissed his wife as fireworks exploded overhead, Emma between them shouting, "Happy New Year!" It was perfect. Everything was perfect. 1 year later, on Christmas Eve, Vincent stood in the same backyard watching Emma, now 4, help her mother decorate their Christmas tree. Rebecca was 8 months pregnant with their second child, a boy they had decided to name Michael. Emma was explaining very seriously to her baby brother through Rebecca's belly how Christmas worked and what presents he should expect next year. Vincent watched them, his heart so full it almost hurt. The house had been transformed over the past year. They had painted every room together, hung family photos, filled it with furniture and love and life. It was truly their home now. "Daddy, come help," Emma called. "I can't reach the high branches." Vincent walked over, lifting Emma onto his shoulders. She placed the ornaments carefully, narrating each one's story. This one she made in preschool. This one Grandma Francesca gave her. This one was from their first Christmas as a real family. Rebecca leaned against Vincent's side, her hand on her belly. He wrapped his arm around her, careful of her pregnant stomach. "Can you believe it's been a year?" Rebecca asked softly. "Best year of my life," Vincent said, kissing her temple. "And it just keeps getting better." Emma placed the star on top of the tree with Vincent's help, then insisted they all step back to admire it. The tree glowed with lights and memories, beautiful in its imperfection. "It's perfect," Emma declared, "just like us." Vincent looked at his daughter, his wife, thought about his son on the way, and felt overwhelming gratitude. He had spent so many years chasing the wrong things, building power and wealth, thinking that was success. But this moment right here, was real success. A family who loved him, a home filled with laughter, a future bright with possibility. "Daddy," Emma said, tugging his hand, "tell us the story again." "What story?" Vincent asked, though he knew exactly which one. "About how you found us on Christmas," Emma said. "How you came back." Vincent picked her up, settling on the couch with Rebecca beside him. "Well, it was Christmas Eve, exactly 1 year ago. Snow was falling, and I was walking down the street feeling like something was missing from my life. And then you saw us," Emma interrupted excitedly, even though she had heard this story 100 times. "And then I saw you," Vincent confirmed. "The most beautiful little girl I had ever seen, holding her mother's hand. And I knew, right in that moment, that my whole life was about to change. Because we're magic," Emma said matter-of-factly. "Because you're magic," Vincent agreed, kissing her forehead. He looked at Rebecca, who was crying those happy tears she cried so often now. "Both of you." Michael kicked inside Rebecca's belly, and they all laughed. Even the baby wanted to be part of the story. Later that night, after Emma was asleep and Rebecca had gone to bed, Vincent stood in the backyard looking up at the stars. Snow fell gently around him, just like it had that night 1 year ago when his life changed forever. He had walked away from his old life completely now. The legitimate businesses thrived, the dangerous ones were gone, and he had never been happier. He coached Emma's soccer team. He went to every preschool event. He rubbed Rebecca's feet when they hurt from the pregnancy. He was building something real, something that mattered. "Vincent?" Rebecca's voice came from the doorway. "Come to bed. It's cold out here." Vincent turned to see her silhouetted in the light from the house, his wife, carrying his son, waiting for him. Behind her, he could see the glow of their Christmas tree, the photos on the walls, the life they had built together. "Coming," he said, walking back to her, back to warmth, back to love, back to home. As they climbed into bed together, Rebecca's head on his chest, his hand on her belly, feeling their son move, Vincent reflected on how a chance meeting on a snowy Christmas Eve had given him everything he had ever wanted. He had thought he needed to be powerful to be worthy. But Rebecca and Emma had taught him a different truth. Love was the real power. Family was the real wealth. And coming home, truly coming home, was the greatest success of all. "I love you," Vincent whispered into the darkness. "I love you too," Rebecca whispered back. "Merry Christmas, Vincent. Merry Christmas, Rebecca." And somewhere in the house, if you listened very carefully, you could hear the soft sound of a little girl dreaming about Santa and reindeer and magic, safe and loved in the home her parents had built together. Their Christmas miracle, their forever.